Kia ora everybody and welcome into another week of the Whale Watch Weekly Updates. My name is Josh and I'll be running you through some updates that we've had throughout the week. So just to let everybody know that the conditions here, the weather conditions have been very good. We've had some awesome days. The sun's been out, it has been quite warm. And also the days, you can actually feel them and notice them getting quite longer now. So coming into that daylight savings period, within the next couple of months, it should be a bit lighter at night. But yeah, we'll just crack straight into it. And for the past week, we have been very successful. Now let's go right back to last Friday, the 18th of July. On last Friday, we ended up having 3 tours. Now the first tour went out at 7:45 in the morning, and on that tour we had 2 sightings of our semi-resident whale Lazarus. We've seen a big pod of dusky dolphins, seen some New Zealand fur seals, the shy mollymawk albatross, some Cape petrels, some northern giant petrels, some fairy prions, and also the blackback and red ball gulls. Then the next tour went out at 10:30. On that tour, we had 2 encounters with our semi-resident sperm whale Mati Mati. We also seen a humpback whale, got another large pod of dusky dolphins, also seen some Hector's dolphins as well. Oh, whoopsie daisy. I don't know what happened there. That's alright. Seen some New Zealand fur seals and also the shy mollymawk albatross. Came across some Cape petrels, some northern giant petrels, some white fronted terns, and also the blackback and red ball gull. Now, we had another tour on at 1:15 in the afternoon, and on that tour we were lucky enough to see, sorry guys, I just fixed this up. Yeah, there we go. 2 encounters with our semi-resident whale being Mati Mati. We also came across Lazarus on that tour. We got to see the New Zealand fur seals, also the shy mollymawk albatross, the Cape petrel, and the blackback and red ball gull. Now moving on to Saturday, the 19th of July. We had 2 tours on for this day, and the first tour went out at 10:30, and on this tour we had 2 encounters with our semi-resident whale being Mati Mati. We also had 2 encounters with 2 different individual humpback whales. Also got a pod of dusky dolphins, some New Zealand fur seals, the shy mollymawk albatross, the Cape petrel, and the blackback and red ball gull. Now, also seen in the notes here, one of the encounters that they had with the humpback whale, it was actually very playful. So that humpback whale there was actually rolling around, and also it was spy hopping. Now, for those of you that don't know what spy hopping is actually when the whale will bring their head out of the water, and it just looks like they're being quite nosy. So you can actually get a really good look at the head of the whale. Also on that tour, I seen in the notes that one of the New Zealand fur seals were actually feeding on an octopus. Now, for those of you that have not seen a New Zealand fur seal feeding on an octopus, it's quite savage actually. It's a bit of like cat and mouse. So all you can see is a New Zealand fur seal has an octopus by its tentacles, and it's just throwing it around in the water, just taking a bit of the tentacle off at a time, feeding on that, and once he's finished chewing, go up and grab the octopus again and just keep doing that until there's nothing left. So yeah, it is quite savage, but it is actually quite impressive to see. However, moving on to the afternoon of Saturday the 19th, we had another tour on at 1:15 in the afternoon, and on that tour we seen our semi-resident sperm whale being Mati Mati. We also seen a humpback whale. We've seen a pod of dusky dolphins, some New Zealand fur seals, the shy mollymawk albatross, the southern royal albatross, some Cape petrels, some Hutton shearwaters, and the blackback and red ball gulls. Also, there was another seal feeding as well, but this time it wasn't on an octopus, it was actually on a fish. So yeah, a couple of awesome sightings at some New Zealand fur seals for both of those tours on Saturday. Moving on to Sunday the 20th of July. Now we had two tours on for this day, and the first tour went out at 10:30 in the morning. First tour, we seen Mati Mati. Then the next sperm whale that we seen was Lazarus. We had an encounter with a humpback whale. Got to see a pod of dusky dolphins. Got to see the New Zealand fur seal, the shy mollymawk albatross, the Cape petrel, the northern giant petrel, and the blackback and red ball gulls. Moving on to the afternoon tour. On this tour they had 4 sightings of sperm whales, only with 2 different individuals. So they had 2 encounters with Mati Mati, and then they had 2 encounters with Lazarus. They also got to see a humpback whale, a large pod of dusky dolphins, some New Zealand fur seals. They also got to see the largest wingspan bird in flight today, being the Gibson's wandering albatross. They got to see the shy mollymawk albatross, the black-browed mollymawk albatross, the Salvin's mollymawk albatross, some Cape petrels, the northern giant petrel, and also the famous blackback and red ball gull. Fast forward to Monday, the 21st of July. We had 2 tours on for this day, and on Monday we got to see Mati Mati, we got to see Lazarus, we also got to see 2 different individual humpback whales, a large pod of dusky dolphins, the shy mollymawk albatross, some Cape petrels, and also some northern giant petrels. Then on Monday the 21st at 1:15 in the afternoon we had another tour on, and on that tour we seen Lazarus. We also got to see Mati Mati. We also got to see a large pod of dusky dolphins, the shy mollymawk albatross, the southern royal albatross, some Cape petrels, and also some northern giant petrels. Now, as you can tell, guys, is the sperm whales that we have located in the since Friday right through till Tuesday has only been Lazarus and Mati Mati so far. But we'll move on to Tuesday the 22nd, and we had 2 tours on for that day. First tour went out at 10:30, and on that tour we seen Mati Mati. We got to see a large pod of dusky dolphins. We got to see some New Zealand fur seals. Got to see the Gibson's wandering albatross, the northern royal and southern royal albatross. We got to see the shy, the black-browed and the Salvin's mollymawk albatross, some white-fronted terns, and also the blackback and red ball gull. 1:15 in the afternoon on Tuesday, we went back out and had another successful tour. On that tour we got to see Mati Mati, we got to see a humpback whale, got to see a large pod of dusky dolphins, the Gibson's wandering, the northern royal and the southern royal albatross. We also got to see the shy, the black-browed and the Salvin's mollymawk albatross, and once again the blackback and red ball gull. Then yesterday we had 2 tours on, the 23rd. The first tour went out at 10:30, and on that tour they got to see 2 encounters with Lazarus. They also got to see another semi-resident sperm whale being Marama. They also got a large pod of dusky dolphins. They also got to see the shy mollymawk albatross, the black-browed mollymawk albatross, the northern giant petrels, the black shag, and also the red ball and blackback gull. Sorry, I've just had a mind fade, but some gulls. 1:15 in the afternoon, we went back out, and this tour, they got to see Lazarus twice, so 2 different encounters with Lazarus. They got to see Mati Mati. They also got to see a large pod of dusky dolphins. Also got to see the northern and southern royal albatross, the shy, black-browed and the Salvin's mollymawk albatross, some Cape petrels, some northern giant petrels, some Hudson shearwaters, and the blackback and red ball gull. I got it that time. And then today, very good conditions out there today. The 24th, which is Thursday. First tour this morning went out at 10:30, and on this tour they seen Mati Mati. They also got to see Marama, and they also got to see Auraki. And also another encounter with another humpback whale. So that's 4 different whales they got to see on the one tour this morning, as well as a large pod of dusky dolphins, some common dolphins, the shy mollymawk albatross, some Cape petrels, some Hudson shearwaters, the white-fronted tern, and also the blackback and red ball gulls. And then moving on to the last tour of today, it was a very special tour, as we have not seen a certain something for a very long time. So they went out and they got an encounter with our semi-resident sperm whale being Lazarus, and they actually seen Lazarus twice. They got to see a humpback whale, and also, ladies and gentlemen, on this tour they got to see some orcas or killer whales. Yes, orcas and killer whale, or orcas or killer whales, they are the world's largest dolphin, but here in New Zealand we have to class them as whales just because of their numbers are starting to drop, and so we just have to make sure we are protecting these creatures. But these here are awesome to see. If you've seen them, you'll know what I'm talking about. Also, they got to see some Hector's dolphin, the shy mollymawk albatross, some Cape petrels, northern giant petrels, some white-fronted terns, and the blackback and red ball gulls. Now, just while we've got some orcas on the screen here, we were lucky to see these today. But orcas, males, they can grow up to a maximum length of roughly about 10 meters. And how you can tell the difference between a male and a female. Now, here's a very good photo on the screen here. So, the males, they have the big, high, pointy dorsal fins. They can actually grow up to over 2 meters, those dorsal fins. So, as you can tell here, this here's a male. And see the females? They have the smaller and the curve-shaped dorsal fins. So, that is actually the main way that you can identify orcas, a male and a female. These creatures here are known as the #1 apex predator in the ocean because they hunt in packs. These guys here, you'll hardly see one orca by itself. They're known as the wolves of the sea. You know, they're very clever animals. A lot of people may have seen documentaries of how they create waves down in Antarctica and wash big sea lions off the icebergs, and from there they just have a feeding frenzy. Here in New Zealand, their main diets of food is skates and stingrays, and we've actually seen them here in Kaikoura feeding on sharks as well, blue sharks. So I remember a few years ago we actually had a big pot of orcas come through, and looks like they were trying to teach their calves how to hunt, and they would come up, grab the shark, and all they would eat out of it is just its liver, and then they'll just continue on from there. But yeah, these here personally are one of my favourite things to see out on the ocean, and we don't see them often. We sort of average to see these in summer roughly once every 2 weeks, but then again, you never know. We could see them 2 days in a row, maybe 3 days in a row, then we might go a whole month without seeing them. So you just got to be at the right place at the right time. Now, I will just put on a little presentation for everybody about the orcas. Orca or killer whale. The name killer whale comes from these creatures here being the only thing in the water to kill whales. So as you can see, the male, the big high pointy dorsal fin, and the females are a bit smaller than the males as well. So you can grow up to the length of a school bus. And there goes a bit of a size comparison from the males to the females. So just looking at those dorsal fins right there. So as I was saying, known as the wolves of the sea because they hunt in packs. That's why they're so dominant. They've just got more numbers. One-on-one with the sperm whale though, I would back the sperm whale any day of the week. So here in New Zealand, or in Aotearoa, New Zealand, there are some orcas that are actually residents in New Zealand. They have been given names as well. Now, I'm only taking a rough guess, but I think there's over 100 resident orcas in New Zealand. I'm just going to pause that there. So, as you can see, they will eat nearly anything. A lot of people laugh at this because they actually see a moose in there. Now, the reason why that moose is in there is over in Canada, you actually get a lot of moose crossing over the lakes and, out at sea. So that is where this comes from, is orcas feeding on moose over there. They're not known to attack humans in the wild. I mean, there is them stories about the orcas in captivity, but that's a different story altogether. I mean, anyone would be very disappointed if they were caged up for a very long time. So that's just inside the stomach of one orca. There's a lot of dolphins and seals there. Cool, so that was just a quick presentation about the orca or the killer whale. Okay, so I will move on to some sea conditions over the next couple of days. So here we go. Oh, I've put the wrong one on here, I think. Yes, I have. Sorry about that. I've put the wrong one up. But when I was looking at the sea conditions, ladies and gentlemen, it was looking very good for the next couple of days. We've got a 99% chance of sailing over the next 48 hours. So it looks like we are all go ahead. But here goes the weather conditions for the next few days. Tomorrow, variable 10 knots, northeast 15 knots developing in the morning, sea slight, southeast swell 2 metres at times. Saturday, variable 10 knots, Sunday, westerly 10 knots, turning southerly 15 knots later, and then Monday 15 knots. Now, with me just looking at that, I can probably confidently say the weather conditions are beautiful over the next couple of days, and especially for whale watching. I do see on Friday, see how the wind changes around to northeast 15 knots, developing in the morning. If it's only 15 knots, we should be fine. Now, that's what we have time for this week. So we've had another very successful week here at Whale Watch Kaikoura. When I'm going through these weekly updates, a lot of people have actually been asking me and messaging me saying, holy, you guys get to see a lot of stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to make it clear, every tour is different. You might go out at one tour in the morning, you might see 6 whales, dolphins, everything. The very next tour, which is in 2 hours time, will go out and they might only see 1 whale and a couple of dolphins. So timing is a big thing for us. If you strike it right, everything goes good. All it takes is for a sperm whale to dive over 1 hour, and that can really make things difficult. Here at Whale Watch Kaikoura, we only average 1 or 2 sperm whales per tour. Anything after that is a complete bonus. So I just wanted to make that clear, just so nobody's got high expectations of coming here and seeing, 1,000 whales. We are a feeding ground here in Kaikoura for sperm whales, not a breeding ground. Awesome, guys. So apart from that, I hope everybody has enjoyed this episode of Whale Watch Weekly Updates. Once again, I will be back next week at 6 p.m. on Thursday night, New Zealand time. And hopefully we can have another good week here at Whale Watch Kaikoura. I hope everybody has a great evening and also a beautiful weekend. Everybody just take care out there, and we will see you next week on another episode of Whale Watch Weekly Updates. Take care, guys. Ka kite anō.